I'm Alex.
I'm Dan.
I'm James.
And I'm Josh.
We're the Ragamuffins.
And this is our predictions for 2000 Trees 2024.
We bloody love 2000 Trees Festival.
Mhm.
It's our favourite camping festival in the UK. It is hard to put into words what this festival is like. You've just got to experience it for yourself. We've just got back from 2023. We had probably the best weekend of the year.
Watch
Easy
the vlog.
Treasy.
Easy
Treasy.
fucking treasy. And we spent the last night, sat around camp, throwing out some suggestions for next year. And we thought, hey, that'll make a good video. So we're going to try and predict some future headliners and then maybe lock in our predictions for next year, and we can maybe react to this video down the line, see if any of us were right, who was wrong, and just have a bit of fun.
Yeah, not just that, but I think there's a bit of a list here that we can riff in the terms of just bands that we realistically think could be well realistic as a Trees booking that I think would be absolutely well received by ourselves and everybody else at the festival.
That's one of the many fun things about Trees, is that it's impossible to predict what lineup they're going to put out. I mean, I'll say impossible. There's always going to be some Trees favourites in there, but in terms of headliners, they don't really follow the trend of other UK festivals.
No.
It could be pretty much anybody.
To start with then, we saw that this year that we had some return of bands that we saw in 2022 play the Forest stage on the first day. Is there anybody that you would kind of want to see back that would realistically be about, do you reckon? Putting you on the spot a little bit.
Playing in the forest.
Yeah.
I could have a dream band.
From this year's lineup? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Give me a second to think that one over.
Because just while you're thinking, I would say Martha would be perfect in the in the forest, and if I was to pick an overseas one, I would just love to see Origami Angel again, and I think the forest would be a fantastic location.
I think a pretty cool forest potential headliner, High Vis.
Bang on, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I think they're on a very fast trajectory, and I think they'll go off. That's good. I don't know why I didn't say that,
Yeah,
actually.
the thing about the forest is it's either a big band sort of scaling down for a night, or it's like one last chance to see a band before they shoot off to the moon. I think with High Vis it will be that situation where it's like, okay, they might not play a festival stage as small as this ever again, so we might as well have one sort of like send off before they become a main stage
Bang on, man.
permanent act. So I'd like to see High Vis, yeah.
It probably wouldn't happen because it would be their third year playing in a row, but what about Graphic Nature doing the early entry day?
Ooh, yes.
Spin kick a tree.
It'd be violent down there.
Over and over again. It falls.
That
Staying
would
with
be
it-
really sick.
With the heavier bands, Ithaca.
I think you've got it there, dude.
I think that would really be something quite special, fit the vibe. They're on the up and up as well. Again,
The
Spin kick a tree.
and up.
Another band I'd like to see down there, they're our boys, Brighton-based Nala. They played back in 2022. Super sick, really fuzzy, driven rock sound. I think they would be perfect amongst the trees. Maybe the first band of the day. That'd be nice.
Nice way to kick off, yeah.
Yeah. Where should we go from here? Should we throw around some maybe smaller bands that we'd like to see around the festival?
Sure. Static Dress.
Yes.
I'm not sure they've played it before.
No,
Which
they're
is a
very
massive
busy
surprise
boys.
because
Yeah.
they're usually everywhere. There's
Yeah,
not much else to say. Like,
I feel like
they're a great
they're-
band. They're treesy.
Their creative sort of strides are getting bigger. Like they're doing more and more ambitious, adventurous things. I think they could really put on quite an impressive show on the main stage. Well, where would you put them actually? High up on, maybe on the main stage or higher up on
Yeah,
Axiom?
they'd either sort of spot on. They'd be either be high up on the Axiom or the Cave, or
Yeah, do you know what? Maybe like
Sort of middle of the day on the main
spot
stage.
when Cancer Bat sort of played in the Cave.
Yeah.
That would be a good spot for them. I think they're sort of. I know they're relatively new, but so I kind of like this sort of element of like folk punk that's from the States, where they're sort of really into their sort of like train hopping and stuff like that, and there's normally like a washboard player and things like that. And some of the bands, well, the sort of band that I think is pivotal in that sort of scene is a band called Days End Days, and I think they would actually do really well at 2000 Trees, and that actually was an idea sparked from what I saw in the Facebook group of a few people saying that Bridge City Sinners would be a good set of trees. I think I completely agree, and I think the perfect setting for that would be within the forest. And yeah, I think if they moved into that element, and if we're talking folk punk, actually, literally now I think about it, somebody like Hop Along, or I never know how to pronounce this one, but Lemuria, or it's like Lima and an IA at the end. I don't know if they're still playing shows, but that would be. I think if that was announced, I would probably like start jumping up and down so much that I don't know, probably get a nosebleed, proper nerd vibes, something like that. It's like my pocket protector starts to leak blue ink, and I'm like, thank.
I can't think of very many bands that are more treesy potentially than Spanish Love Songs. They were booked to play a couple of years ago and unfortunately couldn't. I was very excited to see them, was gutted that they couldn't play. And having seen them at Slam Dunk, they've got a new album coming out this year. I think they'd be perfect to play at 2000 Trees next year. I think just, again, they're just a trees band. It's one of those things that we've mentioned before, it's hard to explain, but
yeah,
they're just a trees band. Perfect.
Well, I feel like a lot of the Trees lineup sort of goes one of two routes. It's either like the sort of punk side of things or the hardcore side of things. And we'll get into the hardcore stuff in a bit. But
Cheeky.
I guess along the same sort of lines of sort of like self-deprecating loser punk, I feel like bands like Mum Jeans, Hot Mulligan would be really great additions to the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
More than welcome.
You said like months ago, Anxious.
I love that band so much.
Yeah.
I think they would be a perfect fit for Cave or Axiom. That'd be so much fun. I would love that.
I think Anxious and Nervous should play one after the other. That'd be
that would be great, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've also got if you move into ska punk territories, with acts such as Sonic Boom 6 and Popes of Chilitown, to be honest. I don't know about you guys, but I actually unironically do like ska. I don't know.
Are you fresh from that 900 set? Wanting some Popes of Chilitown.
When they did Superman, I loved that. Honestly, Popes of Chilitown would absolutely go off.
Yeah.
Tell you what, boys. Better Lovers.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
EP just dropped. It's absolute chaos. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm always going to be sad that every time I die we're meant to play Outbreak 2022 and then they broke up. But Better Lovers is just about as close as we can get, and they sound so sick. And I think they would be great. They would absolutely tear the Axiom or the Cave a new one.
My only hesitation with them is that would they be more likely to play at Outbreak?
When we talk about like potential hardcore bands for this festival, I feel like there are a bunch that we could list, and it is just difficult to sort of weigh up whether they would fit better at Outbreak or maybe even Download. I feel like we've had Kubla Khan and Stitch Your Guns in the past. I think bands like Jesus Peace, Counterparts, Scowl, Speed, Sanction, Vane. Sorry, I know I'm just listing a bunch, but like all of those bands, yeah, they would fit perfectly at Outbreak, and some of them played this year and some last year. But I think they would all be so sick at Trees as well.
I reckon you were so close to saying Code Orange.
Oh, do you know what? I didn't even think about that, but I would love it. I think Code Orange are probably best suited for Download.
Yeah,
Personally.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Any of those bands on the Cave would be fucking sick. I mean, this year especially showed with Kubla Khan's set, people were more than willing to throw down at any time of day. So yeah, any of those bands that I just mentioned, particularly Jesus Peace.
Yeah. I just want to throw back to sort of like the ska stuff. Moving into more of the reggae. I missed this. Moving into more of the reggae territory actually, is the Skints. Not the Skins, the Skints, as my Alexa always hears. I genuinely think they write some of the best songs in the country. I know that's quite a bold statement, but really, if you like a sort of bit of chilled reggae sort of with sort of punk infused lyrics, and they have quite a wide spectrum of how they do their songs. Some of them super chill with that sort of like classic offbeat reggae vibe. Some of them are straight up like punk songs and stuff. I've seen they've played. I was literally reading the back of people's like old lineup t-shirts while I was waiting around for bands, and I saw that the Skints were on a few. So it'd be great to get them back.
One thing that this festival doesn't tap into massively, but it did a little bit this year, is sort of metalcore and maybe more traditional metal. Are there maybe sort of metalcore bands that you think would be well suited for this lineup?
Bury Tomorrow,
Yeah.
I think would suit it tremendously. Not sure if they've played it before, but after the Seventh Sons come out this year, they're just kind of getting more and more hype behind them. And I think playing to the big audiences like Ali Pali, like supporting the Sleeps run that's coming up, in some very big venues, it's only going to do great things for them moving forwards. And again, they just seem to be climbing the ranks even more.
While she sleeps.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I can see them.
This
headlining
is
one
me.
day.
This is getting to later. I could talk about them in headline potential with this. I think let's see if this Ali Pali sells out, which at the minute is saying low tickets. If these tickets are selling well with only 2 bands on the bill currently still, they've not even announced a 3rd band for it. So if it can sell out off the back of 2 bands, then I think they've got enough pull and they could do a headline set.
I agree. I genuinely think Sleeps could probably... No, not even at a stretch. They could definitely headline. Also, while we're just covering metalcore, I think some people will argue that they're too big, and maybe you're right, but I think just because of the type of festival that Trees is and the type of band that they are, Architects could easily... It may be seen as a step down for them now with the size they are.
Well, I guess so, but also...
I think it's still entirely possible for them to do it.
Have they ever headlined a festival?
I'm not sure they have.
No.
So why not start with Trees?
It's a good start.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very cool.
Another metalcore band, I don't care where you put them, Spirit Box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't care where you put them in the forest. Could you imagine?
Further down the bill, I could see an Ocean's 8 Alaska being there.
Yeah,
I
that's a great shout.
saw quite a few Ocean's 8 Alaska t-shirts. Only had the privilege of seeing them once so far in Underworld, my favourite venue, and it was fucking incredible. And I would love to see them again, seeing they've kind of been touring a little bit more recently. So hopefully getting more active again. I believe they're working on new material as well. So if it comes out maybe by the time of next year, after such a long hiatus before a recent album came out, they could be a lock-in.
I'm surprised you haven't said this already, James. And let's all just close our eyes and imagine this for a minute. You're in the forest, last band of the day before you go to silent disco, and Straight from the Path play.
Oh, motherfucker.
All the while knowing that they're also going to play within the main festival as well.
It was like you were saying it for some meditation then. You're in the forest. It's the
And
last
then-
band of the day.
It's fucking Straight from the Path. But I think that moment just encapsulates the chaos and carnage that would happen in that forest.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ, that would be insane.
Tree
Wow.
would probably just tip over, smash the stage.
Fuck, yeah, that would
cool.
be great.
One thing that this year showed us is bands like Harriet, Chelsea Grin, the sort of more extreme ends of metal, were more than comfortable in that lineup. So maybe are there bands that are sort of a bit more extreme that you think could fit
For an autopsy. I think they
yeah,
would land there. And again, seeing a lot of t-shirts of that around, you're seeing like support of these bands everywhere. They're like one I need to knock off my list that I want to see. I think they could fit that vibe.
Band I think would be pretty sick that you were absolutely gassed on at Download, Monuments.
I'm loving this. I'm loving
Right,
this.
just gonna make this isn't the actual festival,
Let's
Josh.
not
all
get our
right?
hopes up, right? Let's not get carried away.
Yeah. Okay. Shall I just throw a bit of shit at the wall, I reckon? See how we go.
on.
See if it sticks.
Okay. Amel and the Sniffers, Orchards,
Yep.
Sincere Engineer,
Yep.
Tiger's Jaw, Defeater, Drug Church, and then in terms of reunions. So we're in a bit of a state now where I think it's really becoming quite prevalent that the festival bookers are like, oh yeah, to get a decent draw, let's get someone to probably reunite, and we love to see it. Like, we're not complaining. Kids
Yeah.
in Glass Houses.
Yeah.
You beat the Blackout recently as
Yeah.
well.
Well, those are 2 bands straight away that would fit the Trees vibe perfectly.
I think
That's quite nice.
Basement as well was basically a little one-off. They show signs that well, they're not showing any signs of anything at the moment, but
It's
Who-
like
who
that
knows?
meme of like do something.
Come
Yeah.
on, do something.
I mean, yeah, if Basement come back once, they can come back again.
I think for
But
some
you're
of-
building up to one that I would absolutely be on board for. I can't see it happening, but
Marmozets.
not the one I was building up to. But I also really like Marmozets.
Flood of Red.
Good,
Try again.
good, but it's not.
God, this is exhausting. Arcane Roots.
Also not the
Also-
one.
Try again.
Also brilliant, an excellent band, but it's not quite.
Get Low, lower than fucking Atlantis.
Yes,
Yes.
please,
Yeah.
please, just once, and I'd be fine. I just need one more
Headline.
wash pit to fuck you.
Headline without a shadow of a doubt, little Alex Blenko. Come on, boy.
Sorry, just wanted to check.
And then for some sort of more obscure but definitely easy treesy bands, Tube Lord and Dananana Nacroid, which are bloody brilliant, and Arcane Roots. Could you just imagine?
Arcane Roots would be nuts
It would go off.
because they are a trees band,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, sorry, I had one more before we move into headliners, if that's all right. I would really like to see Death Heaven. I think
Yeah,
they would
man.
be a pretty cool fit. I think they'd be kind of cool to maybe headline the Axiom.
Yeah, I
While
think
the
that.
big band plays on
put them on
main.
the Axiom against someone like
Completely
a
different.
bit different to
Yeah.
them, I think. Plus, obviously, that means they could play sort of in the dark, in the tent.
Nice.
Vibes, yeah.
Yeah. Should we move into potential headliners then? And then we can kind of like try and lock in.
Do we want to avoid saying our locked in ones to start with and just bounce some ideas
okay.
first?
Yeah, let's do that. I
Yeah?
like this. You're viewing, you're hearing
Yeah.
a bit of like an ad hoc sort of last minute decision.
Mm.
I'm loving it.
Are we focusing purely on next year predictions or just proper future ones as well? Because I've got bands.
Well,
that
I guess our locked
way
in
down
ones
the
can be
line.
next year's
year's.
ones,
Yeah.
and then we
Yeah.
can talk about
Okay,
general
all right,
headliners.
sweet.
General headliner,
Mhm.
not next year.
General headline.
General headliner.
Private parts.
What would we think about a Sleep Token headliner?
I could see it.
I could
Because
start-
let's
yeah.
give it. They've obviously done this Wembley Arena, OVO Arena sellout in 10 minutes, which it wasn't 10 minutes. It was couldn't get a ticket immediately.
Yeah.
Selling out tours everywhere, just blowing up ridiculously. Number 3 in the charts. Give them another year after some more touring. Imagine the anticipation as well, and for Trees if they could get this somehow as
I think they'd easily headline today if they could. Well, I think the reason they wouldn't do it next year is that Download will probably have swept in with some kind of lucrative offer
Exclusivity
for them.
offer, yeah.
Which will have an exclusivity tie-in.
And please, if you are doing that download, put them in a tent or put them outside very late when it's dark. Do not put them during the day.
Imagine going to Trees and making sure that we've all packed our red caps for Limp Bizkit. Could you imagine?
I would fucking love it.
I think
so
that's
much.
realistic as well.
I do.
I think they could do that.
I do.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah.
For a heavy band, we saw them play last year. They've blown up a lot since with Coachella. What if Not Loose came back? We saw Turnstile take a big headline performance after they had a massive year with Glow On. Not Loose have kind of had a big transition year with the Coachella set, releasing these new songs recently. They're blowing up. They're getting more attention. They're still working on new material at the moment. If that comes all around and they get even more momentum behind them, what do we think?
I still weirdly think that if they did come back, it would be an Axiom headline.
I think so.
you
Just
reckon?
strangely, yeah.
Because they are obviously huge, but you can't put them as sub on main stage because who do you follow them with that kind of makes sense? You know what I mean? Unless it was maybe a band like Architects that were
Or Sleeps.
or Sleeps. But no, I think if you had like a Lower Than Atlantis and Neck Deep on the main, Chuck Knock Loose on the Axiom,
Yeah.
jobs are good. And
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, that would ensure that the tent wouldn't be like overwhelmingly, like dangerously rammed as well.
yeah,
Because you've at least still got a lot of your crowd over at the main stage.
Yeah.
Here's kind of like a triple threat of bands that, to the watchers and listeners at home, you might be like, "Are you having a giggle, Josh?" But I don't know.
giggle away.
No, you can giggle, or you can nod your head in agreement. We'll see how we go. Placebo, Deftones, or the Smashing Pumpkins.
I think
I
Smashing
could see all three.
Smashing Pumpkins is like a big shout in the sense that Trees often bring out a headliner that just no one thought of. A band that like aren't really touring anywhere, that wouldn't headline another festival anywhere in Europe, but for some
Like
reason
Thrice,
they're
yeah.
at Trees. Yeah, a bit like Thrice.
I personally, out of those three, would like Deftones the most. I think it'll just be kind of surreal.
100%, man.
Yeah.
I know it's a band that the organisers have been after as well, so
Like Deftones,
they'll be doing what they can.
and especially the Smashing Pumpkins, are like they're up in my sort of like favourite band territories essentially. I think the last one that I've got here is Ragamuffin Favourites, Don Broco.
Mm-hmm.
After
can see
seeing
that.
their set at Alexandra Palace earlier on this year, I do not doubt for a minute that they are not 2000 Trees headliner worthy.
Well, they've done Slam Dunk.
I don't think they've done one for a while, but they could even be up for an acoustic forest set.
I'd love that.
They used to do acoustic sets left, right, and centre.
Yeah, they did like
when
a
they were
couple
coming
of,
up.
They did like some stripped back stuff during the lockdown, like over Zoom and stuff,
Oh,
which
they
was
did,
pretty
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Could
So
you imagine like acoustic thug workout? That would just be
Yeah,
one for
they've
the
done
ages.
I was gonna say, should we do some like super long term predictions? Bands that aren't
Oh, okay.
bands that aren't close, but you want to see get there
Okay, yeah.
way
let's do
down
that,
the
man.
line.
Yeah.
We're making this up as we go along, and I like
Yeah,
it.
this is fun.
So let's look to maybe 5 years plus headliners. Who would you like to see? Who do you think can go on that trajectory? I've got 2, and I don't know how long it would take either of them to get there, but I would like to see them get there. Bob Vylan and Nova Twins. I think they both, need more albums, more material, more time to just keep growing. But I think Bob Vylan's set was fantastic this year.
And the growth they've been through already,
Yeah.
going from the new stage to the main stage in 1 year, is a huge leap.
Holding Absence.
Well, yeah, the only way is up for that band, so why fucking not? Yeah.
I had a good one a second ago, but I got distracted by how excited I was by these other ones being mentioned. Oh, that was it. Pup.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Pup. I think I've seen them grow from what felt like a little secret.
Mhm. Best kept secret.
Yeah, well, it turned into the worst kept secret because
Yeah.
suddenly I remember the exact point. I went to see their set at Reading and Leeds in 2019, and I just turned around and I thought, "There's a fucking lot of people in this tent," and that's when I sort of realised they're not my little secret band anymore. A lot of people like this band, and it was kind of bittersweet because it's always nice to have your little secret band that it feels like only a few people love, but seeing them just keep going from strength to strength to strength, playing bigger and bigger venues every time they tour. They played the Roundhouse last time they were over here. Is amazing, and I think they'll go on to headline somewhere like Trees one day. I think.
I tell you what, not so much in the sense of like a waiting for someone to blow up. I'm more thinking in terms of just time moving forward. But could you imagine if we look back at this in 5 years' time, while we're waiting to see a title fight headline or something like that? I know it's becoming a little bit of a meme now, but I'm also one of those people trying to manifest a title fight reunion, and I also feel if they did come back, they could probably headline Trees. Okay then, so it's maybe this time when it's trying to lock in some stuff, the definitive lock-ins, which is hilarious because I'm about to give this or that stuff, but we'll see how we go. So we're going to do some overlays here too, and it's going to look sexy. So I'm going to look forward. Okay. This is my definitive lock-in of what I truly think 2000 Trees 2024 is going to be. Frank Turner and the Sleeping Souls. Not an artist that I've ever actually really got into. I quite like the stuff with Million Dead and Mongol Horde. But just from what I've observed of how connected Frank is with 2000 Trees and how 2000 Trees are so connected with Frank, I think it kind of just makes sense. Next one, like Dan was saying, AFI. And then lastly, I think potentially Rancid or Block Party.
I forgot to mention Block Party in our little.
I was saving them for the
bit.
lock-in.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Any subs?
the sub headliners, and I'm sorry, I really tried to sort of define these ones, but I mean, I just went for opposite ends of the spectrum to try and cover the bases, and that's what's so fun about trying to predict this. Sub headliners, The Fall of Troy or Gogol Bordello. The next day, Creeper or Black Midi.
Black Midi is a great
That's
shout
a great,
for Trees.
and Creeper actually, yeah.
And then lastly, Los Campesinos or Basement. And that's what I would love to see. And if we can make this happen, Trees, then yeah, I don't know, I'll buy a Coke or something. No, actually, to be fair, I prefer Pepsi. I'll buy a Pepsi. But she wouldn't give it to me. All I wanted was a Pepsi.
I've just got some headliners. Partly I'm going to go wishful thinking for this, and partly realistic. I do think they're going to manage to get Deftones next year. Staying realistic, I think Frank Turner as well. He has such a connection with the festival. Hasn't played there in a while. Not really my thing necessarily, but I think it seems like it could be the right time for him to be back in the kind of cycle you get with some bands and the links with some festivals. And we're going to go out there and manifest the While She Sleeps one. I feel like with the Bullet for My Valentine one in particular this year, kind of like starting to maybe introduce a bit more metalcore. I think, and I'm praying that with Sleep's going to absolutely nail these shows. New materials in the works, and they've said about new songs being released later this year. Originally, we're doing an EP, and now it's turned into an album. I think they're going to have a big end to this year, maybe a big start to next year as well. And I think they could do something pretty incredible.
My first locked-in headliner is a returning headliner called Enter Shikari. On the back of a number one album of headlining Slam Dunk as an exclusive this year, I think they should be freed up to do a few more festivals in the UK next year. And I mean, Rao was knocking about most of the weekend this year as well. It's obviously a festival that he enjoys. Why not?
Yeah, he did a feature for Cody Frost and 100 Reasons, which I just think is bloody brilliant. But yeah, that's a really good prediction. I really hope we can manifest that.
It almost feels like Shikari are almost starting to break through to that like higher level as well. I guess we'll see how this arena tour sells for them. But I don't know, from their headline set at Slam Dunk and from having a number one album finally, it just feels like they're just breaking through a glass ceiling that's been above them for a little while, and maybe a Trees headliner could be like the final sort of thing before they step up to doing, I don't know, headline second stage at Download or something the year after. Who knows? I think playing underneath them as a sub, the front bottoms. Not exactly Shikari's exact genre, but what genre is Shikari? I think it's still a similar fan base. And I mean, at times this year on this lineup, it's shown that you don't necessarily have to follow a band with a similar band. Like we had the Wonder Years before Skindred, and Bob Villain before the Wonder Years as well. So that's like three completely different bands in a row. So I don't think the subs matter too much. That said, I think another headliner that's locked in, Papa Roach. I think we predicted them for this year. After a really random little teaser that they put out on Instagram. Maybe they're being a bit meta and going a year ahead.
Yeah, or just trolling us a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. But it just feels like it makes sense. They've done a big arena tour with Don Broco. It feels like maybe one of the smaller of the three headliners perhaps that I've picked, but why not, eh? And subbing for them, Pup. I think they're beyond that Axiom headliner level now. I think they need to be on the main stage. And why not sub a band like Papa Roach? Final locked-in headliner is one that I nearly didn't pick, but Neck Deep. Again, just loads of fun. They've played the festival before. They kind of headlined, but not quite headlined Slam Dunk. So let's just give them a proper headline set here. Have a big old pop punk party by having the Story So Far on just before them as well.
Oh,
Nice. The way I'm going to do it is, rather than book like a sub-headliner, I'll book main stage and an Axiom one.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Shit, that's
Is that how you do it?
That's what I was doing. Yeah, sorry. No, that's my fault.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Riffing.
The first one, I think, for main headliner, Don Broco.
Yep.
It feels like a nice way to kind of wrap up the Amazing Things era before they could maybe go away for a bit, write some new music, and then I don't know. Maybe this is wishful thinking, but I'll put Death Heaven on the Axiom to not go against, but as an alternative to them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they sort of have much of an overlapping fan base, so it feels sort of interesting that people can really like dive into one or the other. I feel like we're probably due like a older-ish band, and so I think I'll say Limp Bizkit. I think that'll be fun. I think it's either them, Deftones, or Papa Roach, and I would be happy with any of them. Yeah. But I'll lock in Limp Bizkit for my own personal fun. Axiom, Basement.
Yeah, man.
Again, different, so people can just go to one or the other, or if you do, like us, weirdly enjoy both of those bands, you can maybe catch a bit of both.
Basement just needs to come back.
Basement needs to come back, basically. Please. And then lastly, the headliner that I want more than anything in the world, Block Party.
Yes.
specifically on the Saturday night to close the festival. That is what I want.
Yeah.
It was like a little penny dropped for all of us when we'd been predicting. We'd been doing exactly what we were doing now and predicting headliners and bands we'd like to play before we left the festival. And then we got into the car park the following day, and I can't remember what triggered it. Was someone playing some Block Party?
I think maybe.
But yeah, Alex and I just both looked at each other and we were like, block pie. And Josh has had the same thought at some point as well.
Yeah, man.
And then
Maybe the Trees Bookers have had the same thought.
And then to headline Axiom that same night, again, this is just pure wish fulfillment, and it probably wouldn't happen, but we've been talking about reunions, and one that we didn't mention earlier, I would like to see Have Heart
Okay.
play the Axiom.
Yeah, okay.
I think that would be super sick. I'd love to see Have Heart.
Cool.
They're like one of my favourite hardcore bands, so that's kind of wish fulfillment for me. But yeah, those are my locked in ones. Why not?
Well, there you have it, I suppose. This has been really fun, and as you can probably tell, we kind of like ad hocs this one, and it's going to be fun to look back in probably a year's time and see who was barking up the wrong tree, who was barking up the right tree, and
There's a lot of trees to bark at, you know.
it's 2000, it's like 2000 apparently. And as always, we would bloody love to know what your predictions are. So get on it. What's your headliners? What's your Axiom headliners and sub-headliners?
Who could be headlining in 5 years' time? Who's like down in the future you'd love to see reach that point and has that kind of Trees vibe?
Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. As always, we are the Ragamuffins. We'll see you next time.
Maybe let us do a silent disco set.
Maybe.
Maybe.